Hey everyone, Sly47 here. Today I have RedGamingDino joining me for the first of the tier maker months now, I guess, here for tier 10 destroyers here. How are you doing there, Red Gaming?
Not too bad, not too bad. Could be better, could be better.
Nice, perfect. Now we have plenty of ships to go through. If you did miss last week's video for the ranking explains, I will have the link down below. But to do a TLDR version, meta, top tier. These are just the best of the best. Competitive, these are still good, but they're they come in second at times, or they're just pushed out from the meta from just a better ship. Niche, we have ships that play the gambit depending on which type of game you're in, matchmaker dependent, team dependent, player dependent, everything like that. Playable, which are just good ships in general. And then we have need fixing. These are ships that just don't. Yeah. I think there's only like one in there, right, Rad?
Yeah, it'll be pretty obvious which one it is.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. Now, you will see down here below, if you didn't, once again, see last week's video, if you want to see that, these are tricked ships with a very good amount of money or luck or chances of getting camos and leg mods, everything like that in them. So these are to the maxed version of them. This is the difference compared to last year's tier maker. Outside of that, I think that's everything. Are you ready to go, Red?
Let's start.
Let's start. But first, everyone, make sure to go subscribe to RedGamingDino. He does meme videos over on his channel. Amazing creator over there. Anything else to shout out there? Any?
I do commentary now occasionally.
There we go. Nice. There we go. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. It's just my commentary. I don't know what to say.
Yep. But personally, go give him some love over there. Some great videos, and we need to get him a CC account so that he can try out the Forest Sherman with me when I'm on the Forest Sherman, just to rub it into his face.
Oh no.
But if Red is like anyone else in this one, everyone's just going off, just whatever. They're just rolling with it. Here I am with my 5 pages of notes or 50 pages of tier 10 notes.
Hey, that works for you. That works for you. So
I know, right? There's too many to remember. There's
I played a lot of these DDs, so.
Yep. So up bat, we have the Attilio Regolo base version. Red.
Base Regolo.
I know you love the Regolo, so I'm going to let you start off with these.
It's a great ship.
What's your great ship? But where do you put it?
Regolo, I'm going to start it off. Base Regolo. It's going to go into competitive. It's a very strong DD in the way it works now in tier 10 because it is literally the best DD hunter at tier 10 for destroyers, and is very good baseline. Like baseline Regolo, even if you don't have the historical camo or anything, it's still a very strong ship if you can work with low gun range. So
that low gun range really does kill it. The sap just slaps. It does. The HEs, I find the HE kind of, it works sometimes.
I mean, look, the guns are off the charts when you start rolling with them. I almost broke the world record with guns alone in Regolo. So like, if you get the chance, the guns are not that bad. But you have to play very, very dangerous ranges with Regolo to get a lot of stuff done.
That is true. Yeah, it does have a very short range. Those torpedoes, though, they just feel good.
They're just so nice.
Well, but now the tricked version. We're talking Paulo, Emilio, camo, everything.
Camo, everything. It's like on the eclipse of meta. It's like just barely. It's like one hand into meta, one hand into competitive. It's like just barely there.
Wow, I would firmly put this in meta because it just feels comfy now. It just feels like it's just easy.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying that but I'm saying that base Regolo, you're not really losing out on much, which has like the SAT plus or better cooldown. That's really what you're doing the commander for, is the cooldown.
But that can save your butt though.
It does a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like it's like one hand into meta, but like on the other hand isn't competitive. It's like barely holding on to meta.
See, especially if you can get the historical camo, which actually, I think it's the Hot Wind camo, which is the funny name.
I mean, if you have it, you have it, so I'm not going to hold it against anyone, but historical is arguably better.
But you get the speed, and you get, I think it's like the 3rd fastest torpedo speed or something like that. It's pretty high up there.
So it's decent speed.
It's nice, yeah. It feels good. It's not Holland, of course, but
it's definitely not EU levels.
No, definitely. But overall, I would say the tricked out Regolo, this is going on meta and actually shoves
It's
another ship
yeah.
completely right out. We'll get to that at the end.
I
But,
mean, Regolo is a very high influence ship in the game if you play it right, because the ship just has amazing DD hunting capabilities. Like, it is a menace in a match. If you're like in a 5
oh,
DD match, you are menace to any destroyer in the game.
oh yeah, and we'll eventually have to talk about the entire menace of the Regolo in the tier 10 tier maker overall. But right now we're
Oh,
just doing
but
DDs.
yes.
We're just doing DDs here, everyone. Just doing
Mm-hmm.
DDs. Let's go to Black Shimakaze. I
Black
actually really don't
Shimakaze.
have much. I don't do these boats. Sorry.
I
Do you
don't
have
play
any?
Shimakazes, but if you look at the way it plays, it is a very niche ship. It's a better Shimakaze because your like your guns are actually useful now. Like
Yes.
Rapid Reload 2, Shimakaze is very dangerous. So
And a quick little like PSA, Shimakaze owners, your guns exist. They exist.
well,
They're there. They
if you have
like
Black
you just
Shimakaze and you're not using your guns, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong.
pretty much.
So
Pretty
it's
much.
niche. It's not competitive. It's almost competitive if you're good at Shimakaze, but like I know like 2 people that can make Shimakaze work. So
Yeah.
it's a good ship. It's a good ship for niche. If you like a ship that has now very good guns but still has horrendous torp reload,
No.
it's still a good ship.
Oh,
So I think niche fits Black Shimakaze perfectly.
yeah. Now, I don't think we have to say anything about Daring.
This does not need an introduction. This is still the best destroyer at tier 10.
It's just so nimble and just powerful. Its guns are. You have to understand its guns in order to actually make sure they work. In my opinion, they're not as powerful as others, but they are just so solid.
It's just not only that, it's just that the guns are so easy to use and they have so many strengths going for them that like no other DD can say. This is like one of the few tier 10 DDs, I think, if not the only one that has all 360 turrets.
Yeah.
So
I'm
like it's a very strong ship in that sense.
buff Holland when? Like, come on, like what? Why is that? Why? Okay, never mind.
The
We're getting
torps
a
then
little
on
early.
Daring then has, I mean, the torps are mediocre on paper, but if you know how to aim with single file torps, you can get some nasty stuff done with Daring. Daring can get some stuff done if you know how to use single file. Then you have the combo of fuel smoke, which just you can sit in smoke essentially the whole game. Forget it. On top of your dodging, you can sit in the smoke the whole game. And
Oh
then you
yeah.
have Hydro 2 to hunt DDs down with and spot for your team with torps. So it's just it does everything you'd want out of a meta destroyer.
Oh yeah.
Besides AA. Besides AA.
But then again, you can hide within your fuel smoke to kind of
Yeah, you can dodge. If
balance
you're
it
very
out.
good at dodging, you can just dodge torps like this. But bombs, you can't save yourself from.
I think Daring is legitimately the only DD that I know that Steve and just insanely good Splo,
Yeah,
Fruit Poo
you
Poops, they still have issues with. Like it's just like
yeah
when they are at that level, it's just that damn good. Just so good.
yeah. A good daring player will make a Haku player's day very miserable.
Oh, okay, now I'm gonna take this one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can take this one. You can
I
take this
love
one.
it. I love this ship. This is competitive, to me at least. This is competitive because it's good guns, good speed, good torps. Just like it does a lot. It just doesn't have the smoke to get itself out of a position. That's bad. That is of course AA, but that's basically all DDs.
Yeah.
So Delny though, it's just such a fast, good torp boat. It's good. What do you think?
I originally put it in niche, but that's because Delny. It's not that Delny's bad. It's more that Delny is not the best Gumbo destroyer tier then, if you know what I mean, right? Like it's not necessarily like 10 times better than it's a lot easier than some of them. Like it's a lot easier than Regolo or Kleber in terms of ease of use because you literally have the best gun arcs for destroyers in the game. It's just more the fact that the torps are like duds. If you hit anything with good, like if you hit a Vermont with torps, the torps are duds. I mean,
They're
they do
zoning
like
torps,
negative
really.
damage.
Yeah,
They're more just torps you send out for the memes. I mean, they're not really there to do actual damage.
they add up, but yeah, they're
Yeah.
definitely more zoning. They are I'll agree with that one. I just put it in competitive because it's just so easy to be a gunboat, and
It is one of the
like,
easiest gumbos to get into.
and if you learn the Delny, then you can apply it and become a better player with the other. I'd say better gunboats.
Yeah.
But like
That's why I put it. That's why I put it in niche because like it's such a specific play style that it's like it tries to get out of niche with its amazing guns and its rapid reload 2 is nasty. It's just compared to other DDs, it's not necessarily the better gunboat. I put a lot of DDs in niche for that reason. They're just not necessarily all better than each other. They just call all they all fill a certain purpose.
Oh,
That's just the way I see it, though. I could easily,
yeah,
I could see competitive if someone is very good in Delny, but it's
yeah.
just it kind of holds that line of competitive and niche.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick it in competitive for right now. I might rethink about this, like because once again, these are not final. This is all just us talking. So please put your comments down below on where you think ships need to
Yes,
go and
please bash
everything.
us. Please, I can't wait to see 10 comments on why Delny needs fixing.
Delny and Kleber both need fixing of AA. Like,
I know.
please,
Please, please.
Okay, so I'm gonna piss off Red right here.
Whoa, where are we putting this one?
Niche, in
Ooh,
my opinion, and hear me out.
I want
Okay,
to hear the reason. I want to hear the reason. I want to hear
yeah,
the reason.
because I'm not gonna go the typical route that I would typically say, which would be boring as fuck. Because no, it is boring, but at the same time, it is exceedingly tanky, and I mean exceedingly tanky for a DD.
50k
Yeah,
HP potential if
50k
you have
HP.
everything running.
Yep, and also on top of it, you're always bow tanking, which actually I ran into a druid today that was showing broadside.
What?
I sent him back.
Excuse
I
me?
sent him back to port.
I need to make a Druid video. I need to make a Druid video.
Yep. No. It's the problem is that this ship is a slow burn, and if you do not have a team that works with that slow burn, you lose out on damage. If you have an enemy team that doesn't work with it, you lose because you just get pushed on and you're done. It does not have the DPM or it doesn't have the DPS to really always be in competitive.
Okay.
But I totally see this as one that plays the game. But some days it is meta and it just so good. It is never a playable ship, in my opinion. It is never.
No.
It is always in like niche 2 meta. Like it's just you just have to have the right team that works with you. Do you agree?
My biggest issue with Druid isn't your team. It's more the fact that it takes like a simple Kleber or Regolo to go like on the flank of you, and then you're screwed because then you have to turn your ship and then you're exposing yourself. That's actually the biggest concern with Druid is when you have to focus multiple targets at once because well you can't run because the ship's slow, and then well you can't kite because you have no guns in the back. So its biggest disadvantage is when you have to face multiple targets at once, and if they're very good DD hunters like the Regolo or like the Daring, well, not the Daring, but the Delny, if they chase you down, you will pretty much die if they're smart because
Yeah.
you need time to kill them. They need to be up in your face without islands for you to kill them.
Yeah, that's where I was like, I've done a Venezia run on it. Like, and if a Venezia can do it to you, it's
Druid. It kind of plays. It's not like that. It's like Delny. It plays the competitive niche section, but it's tankiness, man. That thing does not like to die. It does not like to die. It was. I've used 6 smokes and 4 heals in a game. No one is. I rarely die in Druid unless I get rushed down by what I just explained. That's usually when I typically die in Druid.
That's where like I don't think it's fun, but at the same time, I understand some people find that fun. And like that, I find a more strategic play overall.
You don't know fun until you don't know fun until you get to harass Minotaurs with the Druid. That's free Citadel damage right there. Your Citadels do 0 damage essentially, but it's funny to get a sick crisis on a Minotaur or Smalland. So
didn't you get a Citadel crisis on a midway today or something like that? It was like
I did actually. I've come close to Citadel crisis in battleships with this thing.
Yeah, it's a good ship. It's just one of those things that you have to have the right team, and that just makes it more niche. It is definitely a competitive or meta ship, but you just have games where you're not going to get the damage. It's just
if you pair Druid though with good destroyer players on your team, this thing easily turns into competitive. If you have good destroyer players, because they can back you up in a situation where you're getting rushed by destroyers. If they can back you up, the ship's amazing.
Oh yeah, and that's why I like the niche category. It just makes sure everyone knows that hey, there's an asterisk to this being as good as it should be, you know, or something like that.
Yes.
Let's move on to Elbing. Where did you put the Elbing?
Where did I put Elbing in niche?
Yeah,
for a very specific reason. I've discussed this with Alistair before, who I think is the best. I've seen the best Elbing player I've seen play the game. It serves one purpose, and that is to harass cruisers out of existence. It serves that one purpose and that one purpose only.
And the more I play the Felix, the more I realize it is just so like I want the Elbing because it's so good at kiting cruisers and harassing them slowly to death. It is so good, and those sea mines are just hilarious. They're almost as good. They're almost as good as St. Vincent Torps, where it's just like you run into it, you see someone run into them, you're just like,
amazing. Just like a random, you see like one torp at like 11 kilometers with your torps, like some random destroyer gets hit by them. It's like, and Elbing, of course, is especially after like the recent buffs, like the one, like it got like another 1,000 HP. Like, it's a super tanky destroyer as well. Another tanky destroyer.
Oh,
Not as
yeah.
tanky as Druid because you don't have a fourth heal, but it Elbing can survive a game very long, like a cruiser could.
You do have to pace yourself very well though, because it doesn't have the
No, well,
DPM to do
well,
anything.
and not
Like,
only just that, it's the fact that it's also not it's not a fast destroyer. So if you get chased by like a Venezia, you're kind of screwed against a Venezia if they know what they're doing because you're gonna get chased and you're not gonna outrun a Venezia.
or even God forbid a Regolo.
If it's an Austin, GG's to you because if the Austin player is smart, it's not a fun time for Elbing.
Austin's death to it.
Unless you're a good
Gearing,
Elbing player.
Yeah. Gearing though. I
Where
think
did I put this game?
I know for me I put it in competitive. It's just a good DD. It's just
I mean,
it's
we
the
could
most
have
basic.
there could have been a trick gearing, but realistically, I'd say recommend to run gearing with leg mod because that's like the best version of gearing. I mean,
I felt like that was a comfort move. That's why I didn't put a
yeah.
tricked one.
I mean, gearing is such a basic destroyer,
Yeah.
and it's so much better than another basic destroyer. But it fills such a good purpose because it's so basic, it's so easy. It's like a destroyer on easy mode. Like you want free damage in a destroyer, there you go.
It also, I think it's just it's got good torps, good guns, good maneuverability, good skills to work at it. Except for the ADA, I think the ADA
It does have that
should be buffed.
long-lasting American smoke, though. It does have that. It is the only smoke
Yes.
2 destroyer. It's tier 10, so it does serve a very good purpose for that situation.
That is true. I think there is another ship. I think we were talking about it, and I think it's coming up. But yeah, it's just bland and basic, but it's not a master of none situation. It's
It's
just good.
not, but it's bland, but it's not bland in a bad way. It's not
No.
bland in a bad way.
And if you want to challenge yourself even more, get the space camo.
I love the space cannon for that thing.
But for a person of your caliber, I completely see you enjoying it because you don't deal with the.
It's such
the
a
bad
great time.
parts of it.
If anyone's playing a destroyer in this game and they want to like play a destroyer where they can turn their brain off while still getting good stuff done, just play the gearing. Just turn your brain off. You don't need to work that hard in gearing to get stuff done.
Yep. Now let's talk about the antithesis. Even though this is the most
This is
bland,
what this is
basic
where
DD as
it
well.
could have been like the gearing. It could have been like the gearing, but so much lost potential.
I put it in playable. Where did you put it?
I put it in playable. I can't rank this anything higher than a playable. Grozovoi, it's almost needs fixing. It almost needs fixing, but like it gets saved by the fact that it's such a basic destroyer that it's easy to use, but it doesn't give you much when it's easy to use.
I will say the guns are easier to use. The Gearing's guns.
Well, yeah, it has those flat Russian arcs. It's easy guns to use. The flat Russian arcs. You can't miss with them.
No, you can't. But I have one word that destroys the whole idea of why the Grozovoi, I should say, doesn't deserve to be at a higher tier. Udaloi.
Whoa, okay. Udaloi is one of the many problems because Udaloi is a beast at tier 9. If that wasn't on a tier list, that would be like meta because that thing's insane.
Oh yeah, no.
Grozovoi though
overshined.
It's just so sad the way they made Grozovoi because it had so much potential even after multiple buffs. So much potential wasted.
I really do believe it probably needs a torpedo reload of some kind, and it's ADA removed because that's not doing anything.
That ADA is a waste. Unless you give a good AA, that ADA is a waste.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't give it.
It needs an agility buff. I don't know how on earth they made Delny more agile than a Grozovoi. I have no idea how they managed to do that.
Well, Delny is better in a straight line. Delny is a Kleber.
No, like, Delny still accelerates faster though.
It does. Actually, I didn't.
Accelerates faster than a Grozovoi. It's so sad how Grozovoi. Like again, it could be with gearing. They messed it up so bad. It could have been with gearing. Could have been.
Okay, let's move on to something a lot better. Halland. I'm actually gonna let you. I'm gonna let you go because as much as I love the Halland, I know you take it to the next level. So let's hear from
Halland. I'm gonna leave it in borderline competitive because Halland is a good ship. It's an amazing ship, but it takes a mindset to get Halland working. It's a mindset because you need to know what you're getting yourself into with the floods, the fires, your garbage can armor, lack of smoke, and your ability to dodge. You need to know what you're getting yourself into to make Halland officially work because I've seen Halland players who get deleted by Vermonts at like 8 kilometers because they're giving full flat broadside. They're not gonna die.
And with AP, like not even H.
Yeah, with the AP, like Halland is. You need to have the mindset to play Halland because it has a lot of things going for it. It just takes a certain mindset.
Yeah, I always go back to whenever you play the EUDDs, always play it as an RPG. You are not playing Blitz. You are playing cooldowns, fires, floods. You are sharing the damage around. You're thinking of
You
it
are
as a
watching that
map.
mini map religiously.
Mm-hmm. And then occasionally you're going, haha, carrier. You think that'd be
Oh
funny.
yeah, oh yeah. Well, Holland is just like, I don't care about you, carrier. You can go after me all you want.
Yep. Now we do have a tricked version of this with Swarovski. And
Yeah,
not with the legendary.
because the
No, I
leg
don't think
mod
the,
is it's literally just there for competitive. That's the only reason the
yeah,
leg mod exists.
it's not.
Swirsky Holland, I'm not gonna put it in meta. I'm gonna leave it in competitive. But that's because the real biggest difference you're gonna get with Swirsky is your radars. Realistically speaking, your radars is what you really gain from Swirsky.
Yeah.
The extra radar and of course the cooldown, that's insane for Holland. I don't think it takes it into meta yet. It's close. It's close with Swirsky, maxed out. But, Swirsky, it still takes, the Holland, not to the next level as other destroyers could with their maxed out stuff. It's
So
kind of like Regolo. It's kind of like Regolo where like it's barely hanging on to meta with Swirsky, but like it's not much better than a certain destroyer we're gonna see later.
so I'm actually gonna say meta, and the reason is you get another radar, so you can spam it now with 3.
Mm-hmm.
You get longer radar, lower cooldown, and such. Let alone, I think Swirsky has, I think it's Daredevil, right?
Daredevil plus. You get
Yeah,
at
Daredevil
what's it called?
plus.
50% HP.
Yes. So now all of a sudden you bring the capabilities of a Worcester in a small package with fires and floods. That is fantastic at tier 10.
Oh yeah.
That is but the thing is also, I want to say Tricked is also, you kind of understand, this is where we're taking the ceiling and the floor, looking at it. We're not looking at if this has hands or this doesn't have hands. It's just, hey, what is the ship's capabilities? And in my opinion, I recently hit a game and I fucking didn't record it, and I'm so mad about it myself. Oh, that. But literally the entire game, I prevented the DDs in cage center control, all in the middle. They were all in the middle from ever doing anything because my radar was up like that.
Oh
like
yeah.
every time.
Oh yeah.
And
You got that. You had like a 50-second cooldown. It's nasty. It's nasty.
it makes it where you can flank and flood areas with your torps and just watch as, okay, cool, who needs a fire now? Who needs that? Who needs a flood now? Everything that it is so damn easy to stop a flank with a Holland now.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to just push into a flank with a Holland now. And let alone, by the way, you still have better AA too. Like,
Oh yeah, and you get the
just
better DFA skill. Oh yeah, that's right.
and I think Tricked Holland just goes right into meta just because of the AA alone and the support it brings to a team.
Yeah.
That's at least my opinion.
The way I see it is that Tricked Holland is essentially the Holland, but like on easy mode, because now you don't have to worry about your cooldown. It doesn't fix your fundamental issue of that you're at risk of getting deleted out of existence by battleships because you still lack a smoke. And it doesn't fix your speed issue because you're still slow destroyer with the engine boost. But it makes it a lot easier to use Holland. Besides the fact that it's still a hard ship to use. Like fundamentally, even with Swirsky, it basically makes your radar use a lot easier, but it doesn't make the play style easier. If you ask me, because you still have to worry about fires and floods. It's not like you're gonna get magically better fire and flood chance, and you still need to use your radar correctly. Otherwise, you're gonna run out of radar mid game with nothing to use it for. You need to use your radar very strategically to make use of Holland.
But you do have at least, like, in my opinion, always, 1 is a no shit button, two is nice.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
3,
that's why I
you
said
have
Swirsky.
1 mistake and then 2 strategics.
That's
So
why I say
3
Swirsky is just that's why I say Swirsky is a more training wheel version of Holland because you're able to sacrifice a radar just in case you need it.
Yeah.
You can get away with a lot more stuff having better cooldown and having another radar. It's a lot more training wheel esque version of Holland.
I think I'm going to keep it in meta, but I see your point. I do.
Yeah.
It doesn't fundamentally fix it, but I feel like that
it's like me and Tricked Regolo. Like it's good, but it doesn't like change the ship like crazy. If you ask me, at least
it just makes it so much comfier.
Especially
when we go to another ship.
It's it's just the ease of use. It's just a nice ease of use Holland if you know how to use Holland already.
Yeah, everyone's joining midway. Of course, we've already done our entire one, so it's one of those things where we're like, we know the end, and we know where these strict ones are pushing other things out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Harugumo, do you play this shit much?
I'm gonna have to speak for Steve here because Steve is the Harugumo legend in NA.
with that one. Yep.
It's niche. I mean, look, it's not. I wouldn't say it is playable because realistically, after like the 10 million buffs they gave it over the past couple of years, it's basically has to go into niche. Otherwise, the buffs will have been worthless over the years. Especially this recent buff is definitely significant because now you get more HP, you get better torpedo load, and you get the useless DFA that no one cares about. But that's the point. It's such a niche. It's like the definition of niche. It's the definition of niche. Works in some games, doesn't work in others.
Man, I won't like. I'm gonna agree with you. I actually had this originally in playable, and because I find it doesn't work more often than it does work, so it kind of pushes it into playable.
Yeah, but then you have some of those games where like there's no carrier and like there's no DD hunters and you're just like there like 100k easy damage. Like
yeah, you're just like, hey, by the way, battleship, I'm gonna shoot you 600 times to death.
You're gonna see 600 shells in the air. Don't worry about it.
I love it. It is very unique, though, and I have never gotten a triple to work. I've never gotten a triple to work.
It's definitely on the harder end of. It's on the extreme end of the gunboat destroyers because it is. The gun arcs are something else. They are not easy gun. They're like the polar opposite of the Delny's guns, where they're not flat and they're fast, but they're fast and they're hot. Yeah, they're the complete polar opposite.
It's Des Moines level type of idea. Des Moines or Worcester.
No, they're like Worcester. At least they're not like Worcester, where like they're high. At least the Harugumos are fast shells, where they're not slow like Worcester. So they got that going for them.
Yeah. I'll push it into niche. I'll agree with you on that. I originally had it in playable, but I'll
yeah,
push
I think it just fits niche so perfectly because there's some games where like you will see Harugumos doing crazy damage, and then there's other games where the Harugumo gets shut out by a Haku. So,
oh, poor Haku just can pretty much eliminate it in one shot. Oh.
That thing is as long as the island. That thing is easy to hit for a Haku.
Yep. And now we move on to the Hayate. I don't think I've played this pretty much ever since it came out.
I've asked some Hayate players, or like a few, I should say. I shouldn't say some. Yeah, the ship's overshadowed by the gearing. It gets pretty overshadowed by the gearing as an overall destroyer. I put it in playable, but that's not because it's bad. More because it's kind of not aged as well as other destroyers. Hayate's a good ship. It really is. Yeah. And that's why I'm putting it in playable. I don't want to put it in niche fixing because the ship still serves a purpose. I didn't want to put it in niche because, well, I mean, it's a basic destroyer. That's what it's meant to be. I mean, every once in a while in a game, you turn into a Shimakaze, so it's not bad in that sense.
No, I think that the problem is its niche is overshadowed by the ship that it's meant to be a side grade for.
Yeah, it's meant to be a side grade of, what's it called?
Shimakaze and the Harugumo.
It's meant to be the Harugumo. Like,
yeah,
but then like the guns are still worse than like gearing, so like you don't end up comparing to gearing. I mean, it's like the Grozovoi situation. It's hard to compare yourself to gearing when gearing is so cracked compared to the other two.
I'll agree with that one.
It's a hard bargain for Hayate. It's still a good ship. I still recommend it for anyone who wants like a Shimakaze, but doesn't have a black Shimakaze and wants guns that function. But
if you have, was it Makawa?
Makawa, you get another torpedo booster.
Yeah, you get another torpedo.
Now you turn Shimakaze twice.
And the problem is that in reality, that's probably all the time you actually normally get in a Shima before you die.
But then there's the fundamental problem of if you have black Shimakaze, what's the point of Hayate? Because then you have the good gun. You have better guns with Raptor 2.0 than Hayate, so that's kind of the other issue.
Yeah. So Hayate, it might need something. But
sorry, I'm sorry. All of the 3 Hayate lovers. I'm sorry.
All right, let's talk about the first one that needs fixing. The Khaba.
The last one that needs fixing.
Yeah, and the last one.
It will be very lonely and needs fixing. It'll be very lonely.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Khaba enjoyers. I think every Khaba enjoyer will admit the other version of Khaba is simply better. Base Khaba is not happening.
Its range has been power crept. Its torpedoes are hit hard, but unfortunately, it's just you're not doing that in tier 10. I'm sorry, you're just not.
There's a significantly better destroyer that when it came out, it completely overshadowed Khaba like tenfold.
Yep. It's just not. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't as much as the range. And then let's go for the tricked version, the leg mod.
This is playable because at least your gun range is now existing for a gunboat, so it fixes one of them big problems. I mean, your torps now don't exist to begin with, but tricked Khaba is playable. I think everyone can agree Tricked Khaba is at least a playable ship.
Yep.
Not a good ship, it's a playable ship.
It definitely needs in my opinion, Khaba should be the HE Elbing. Like it's like, hey, it should be able to fire HEAP with decent arcs in comparison to the Elbing, and it
Yeah.
really just it needs a lot of love.
Its speed it used to have as an advantage is no longer existing now that French destroyers exist. That's not really or Italian destroyers. Like the speed, having good
Or
speed in Khaba is not
Delny,
really
like
yeah, Delny. Like that's not
Delny just wiped it
yeah.
away. Like just
It's not even an achievement to be fast in Kava, considering how many fast destroyers are in tier 10. It's not an achievement anymore. But
well,
Tricked Kaba,
if,
it exists. It exists.
yeah, it does. I wouldn't suggest it. But let's talk about the speed demon itself.
Oh, this is where
Bear.
it's at.
For
This is where it's
me,
at.
as much as I know there's a few people that want to say meta, I'd actually
Yeah.
go competitive because the arcs, the arcs and the torpedo range. Because there's
See,
another ship that
this is the
basically
ship
beats
that Kaba could have been. This is the ship that Kaba could have been. Or
yes,
Delny for that matter. Or Delny for them. Kleber,
yeah.
I put it at like borderline niche competitive, but that's only because it's like Delny. You need to know what you're or not hot Delny, Holland. You need to know what you're getting yourself into because this ship plays a very certain way. And if you can't handle that 50 knots of speed, you are not in for a good time. You will get clapped by Columbos if you're given broadsides. If you're not
Yeah,
using your speed correctly.
or you just get clapped by CVs because you literally, in my opinion, you have a person with like a 22 LR shooting off the side of your plane, like your ship. That's
Well, like
you have no AA. You have virtually
Kleber is actually not. It's not bad at dodging like torps because it has so much speed and you can just go like press the button twice to reverse and you're like already back at like 0 knots for a fast destroyer. The problem is that dive bombers are your weakness, but
and you're such a
so
massive target. It's
and
as
you're a
much as
huge destroyer for dive bombers.
yeah, as much as I love it, I just kind of akin that Kleber is a more damage dealing higher arc Delny, where Delny is the hey, it does close damage, but the arcs are a lot easier. You know,
Delny
it's
is
kind of
easy mode Kleber. Kleber is for the people who want to be going like cracked levels of speed at tier 10 and they have no plans to stop whatsoever.
full send. Yep. Oh yeah. No, especially when you run the leg mod with it, it's just you don't stop. You don't. There's no stop.
Yeah. One of the bigger downsides to Kleber, of course, is the fact that, well, it has horrendous concealment. You will not be contesting caps easily in this ship unless you know what you're doing. This ship gets outspotted, I think, by every single destroyer tier 10.
So I actually would say Delny and Kleber, you don't go into cap. You flank the cap and you
Well, no,
kill
yeah,
everything in
You,
cap.
you kill everything
Then
around the cap. That's right. That's right.
then
Unless
you
you're
go
forced
in.
to go in the cap in the end game, you don't need to go in the cap in the beginning of the match necessarily, unless you have the ability to.
Yeah, no, I would.
So,
No. But now let's talk about the better Kleber.
oh,
Sorry, did I
Marceau.
say that too?
I'm not trying to let the bias flow through me with Marceau because this is one of my most played ships.
I'm gonna pump you up. I'm gonna pump you up. This is meta.
Oh,
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna go full meta on this. This is the Kleber that you want. This
well, this
does,
is
in my opinion, the most consistent amount of damage out of these. If you don't know how to do regular or single line torps, and you don't want to deal with horrendous gun range, and you want AA that somewhat works, Marcel's right there.
somewhat works.
Hey, that's better than all the rest of them. All the rest of them.
I mean, besides Halland, there it is better A than the rest of them, so that's a fair point.
Like I as the more you talked about it, and it wasn't me trying to perceive the bias. It's just no. The more I played it, the more I went. This is super comfy. This is fun,
it's like
comfy, does everything, whatever you need, and has long range torpedoes.
it's like the in between of Kleber and Delny. You have the ease of use of Delny's fast torps reloading, and you have what's it called, the thinner spreads compared to Kleber.
Oh.
And then you have the insane gun DPM that Kleber brings. If it had rapid reload going half the time, the downside is that you just can't. Marceau's biggest downside from Kleber or Delny is that you can't really deal with cruisers as easily because you don't have the penetration of either of them. Because Delny AP is crazy, Kleber AP is insane. Marceau AP, it's not really crazy compared to the other ones. So you're at risk of facing cruisers, like heavy cruisers especially. Like Venezia is your worst nightmare, Marceau, because you can't do anything to them. You have no gun range. You can't do anything to Venezia compared to Kleber, so you were kind of screwed in that situation.
But you do have the torps, and you do have the stealth,
Yeah.
and you have the speed to get around it.
Highest I put Marceau is in competitive, but that's only because it lacks the gun range of both Kleber and Delny. So it's almost like akin to Regolo, where you have to play in very dangerous ranges to get stuff done. It's under 9 kilometers with camo. So you need to know how to maintain your speed and your dodging under 9 kilometers in a destroyer to get stuff done in Marceau. That's why I didn't want to put it over Kleber, because you have to play a much more dangerous ranges than a Kleber has to.
So I would agree with that, but I would say that even though you are in closer range, your guns are way more consistent. The Kleber's floaty arcs will mess with you if you do not play it consistently. Where the Marceau,
Yeah.
I feel like the arcs are incredibly just a good situation, and then on top of it, it just the recent buffs from it. I think it was a
Oh
few
yeah,
weeks ago.
the
Yeah,
fire
dispersion
bro.
buff.
I've gone withers with Marceau now.
Yeah, no, I think in my opinion, it's just that the Marceau starts to almost bleed into that just basically a good DD, and it does it incredibly well.
And for Gumbo, DD has good concealment. It's under 7 kilometers base, so you actually outspot a lot of you outspot Elbing and stuff. Like Marceau's concealment's not too bad for a ship of its size.
Yeah, and I think one thing for me is I've started doing this with Marceau, and it's a tactic that I want to elaborate in a video eventually. Is basically sending out torpedoes, and then purposely missing the aim on them, but shooting the player in order to make them turn right into them. And the
Oh yeah,
Marceau does it
yeah.
incredibly well
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
because the torpedoes
Your torch
reload
reload back so
like
fast. They
yeah,
just
exactly.
40 seconds. That's the fastest torch reload at tier 10, even compared to certain destroyers with leg mod. Like
Oh yeah, no, it's
that's the
just the
fastest at tier 10.
Marceau just has the damage potential. It has the ease of use, and also has the speed to GTF. Oh, it
Oh yeah.
so where Kleber, I find myself multiple times where I just if I would have had the faster firing guns than Marceau, I would have done better, or I would have
Yeah,
had the
Marceau
poops.
Kleber are interesting because a good Kleber player can make it better can make the Kleber better than Marceau, but then a Marceau player can keep up with the Kleber in a lot of situations.
Oh yeah, no, I just view the Marceau as generally better. It definitely trickling in. I think Daring still blows the other three out of the
Well,
water
yeah, I
in that
mean Daring
category.
is just not even a comparison. Because like it's still no, you can't compare
It's
anything
still
to
high
really
up
to
there.
Daring.
But yeah, no, it's like Marceau. I think it definitely pulls into that Tricked Halland and the Regolo, where it's just better. It's not
Yeah.
incredibly better, but it
It's
is
not
better.
as I will say one thing. It's not as easy as like the gearing or anything because you still are having to know how to manage your speed because well you will still die if you get broadside and Marceau technically
Or
has a worse turn time. So when you're flipping torps like a Clemson, you actually are worse than Kleber in a YOLO rush. You do run that risk. Also,
but
by
that's
the way,
something you
anyone
learn from. That's something you can learn.
something also by the way we should mention is that if you're gonna play Marceau, I hope you have a level 9 commander, everyone. So you have the engine boost skill because you have 5 engine boosts in this thing. You need the engine boost skill to use all 5 engine boosts in a game effectively. You need the engine boost skill.
This is the
Just
one
putting
where
that
I'm
out
like
there for anyone.
Jujard's kind of worth it. Kind of.
No, he's not because you don't get the cooldown though. You're not gonna have times to
Oh,
use all
that's fair.
5 engine. You need Obunyo if you want to maximize your engine boost, or you need a level
Oh,
9
I need to do
commander. You
that.
need
I
either
need to do
or.
that. Okay, let's move on. We've spent too much time on that. So,
I know.
the Ragnar. I know you just
Oh,
made a recent video on this. I know, of course, there's
almighty
gonna be a delay in the
Ragnar.
videos. Yep. Um, where did you put it?
I put my Ragnar in competitive. I put it in competitive. I don't want to put it higher than competitive because it does have the lack of smoke. But man, those guns are built different. Those guns are from a different planet. This is the HE Elbing that we wanted from the Kava.
That is true. Holy crap! I didn't even notice that.
This is the HE Elbing. This is the
Ding.
HE Elbing. This thing's
Yeah.
HE is this thing HE rivals Worcester in damage. The HE is outrageously good. Like it's not even like fair. Compare like this is I think this has the best HE at tier 10 for destroyers. Like it's not even comparable. Um
I
the
need to play the
AP
HE
is
more.
good.
I find the
AP is
AP
good.
just
No,
disgusting.
the
I
AP.
find
I
the
mean,
AP
the
so
AP just works against. I mean, cruisers. This thing harasses. The
yeah.
gun range is amazing. I mean, with Camo, you have like you have second best gun range behind Elbing. You have a million engine boosts to use from the Regolo. You have 6 emergency engine boosts. Like
Yep.
you could just sit the whole game. I've sat the whole game farming a battleship, popping engine boosts every once in a while. I'm just 42 knots, gunboating at 11 kilometers. It's like it's like a Kleber shooting at someone, but they're constantly like a bigger ship, but they're always going fast.
Yeah.
It's nasty. And then of course you have the best AA, pretty much all destroyers at tier 10. And then you have the legendary Radar 3 of Ragnar.
Yeah, that actually the radar is what pulled it out of niche because it's just like the other gunboats. It's just sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the radar, you now add in the support, which
Now you
just
bring something. Now you not only do you bring AA, but you bring some kind of DD or cruiser hunting that you not. I mean, it's the only Radar 3 ship at tier 10, I think. So it's a
yeah,
huge advantage for a team.
huge
Also, not to
advantage.
mention anyone who puts Swordskin Ragnar, you're talking about crazy levels of damage in the game. That's 2 Radar 3s that have like a 40-second reload on them. You can scare cruisers with this thing. You can scare Smolensk with the 2 radars.
Oh yeah, Although I will say it just doesn't bleed into meta
Well,
with Swirsky. It
its
doesn't.
downside is that you have the Halland issue where you have no smoke. So like, if you get caught out by like a cruiser at close range, you are kind of screwed
Or
because
no
you can
torps.
run, you have no torps, and you have no smoke. So you have to understand that it's not like a Friesland where you
Mm.
can just sit and smoke and just farm away. You have to play very cautiously at range against certain ships.
Oh yeah. Now let's talk about the king of niche. Shimakaze.
I didn't even push Shimakaze in niche.
Really?
I put Shimakaze in playable only because Black Shimakaze is the better Shimakaze. Shimakaze is niche for most people. It is. But
You
it's so
know,
basic and bland at what it does that it almost doesn't fit the same niche as Black Shimakaze. But I
I'm a,
understand why it's a niche. I understand why it's a niche, though. I understand why people put
actually,
it
you
in
know
niche.
what? Because of Star and Arsonist, I'm actually going to agree with you on that one. I've talked to them about this. So my wife and Arsonist literally went up against her once and was like, "Okay, this is a good Shima player." Like she
Yeah.
knew how to do, and like that. She loves being the person that just kind of goes, "Hi."
I would not want to face Star if that happens. I do not like surprises like that. I don't like
She loved
surprises
it,
like that.
but she told me she's like Black Shimakaze. That's just
Yeah,
she's gonna choose
Black
that one over
Shimakaze
her.
is in a
Yeah,
league of its own compared to the IGN DDs outside of Harugumo. It's in a
I'll agree with
league of
that.
its
I'll
own.
agree with that. I'll agree with
It's in a
that.
league of
Yeah,
its own.
Shimakaze got pushed out of his niche, and with that,
But it still has a good niche. That's the thing. It's still if you want like if you can
yeah,
understand the niche of Shimakaze, please do not use leg mod when you're playing Shimakaze. If you understand the way to use Shimakaze, this ship is very good, but it gets shut out so quickly once you start getting spotted consistently by many. Like if you get spotted by Regolos, Darings, Klebers, you are done. It's GG's. Your influence in the game is gone.
yeah. No, don't use like mod. It is actually an
Leg
adverse
mod
thing.
Shimakaze
It's
goes
just
and needs fixing. Leg mod Shimakaze is a downgrade. It's a downgrade.
oh yeah,
The only
oh
downgrade
yeah,
I've like the biggest downgrade I've ever seen in a ship besides Leg mod Venezia is Leg mod Shimakaze. It's a
yeah.
downgrade.
Although I might have something to say about that like mod Venezia
Oh
sometime soon.
god, bro. Not in the cruise. No, no, not in the cruiser one.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the
Oh
cruiser
yeah.
one.
Yep, I know, right? But let's go to probably what I would say is the next one. Smalland.
Alright, so this is the best EUDD at tier 10.
Let's go right in meta. The trade off that this ship gives the Halland the smoke it needs while literally losing almost nothing. 2 extra torpedoes. Who cares?
I mean,
Who
look,
cares?
if you're hitting 10 torps on Holland, you need to teach me how to play Holland because I can't hit 10 torps on Holland at max range. So
Yeah,
you need
no,
to teach me how to
it's
play Holland if you can hit 10.
no 8 torps is perfectly fine, and you get everything, and you get smoke. Yeah, no, Smalland is literally is like daring top, Smalland next, and then I think Trick Regolo.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But either way, we're not going to get too much into that because it would be
I mean, well, so
long
remember,
video.
Smalland not only does it get the fuel smoke, so now you fix the fundamental problem that Holland had. So now you can hide twice in a game. You have 2 oh shit buttons.
Yep.
You have 4 emergency engine boosts for when you need to run. And it's a premium, which means that you can put Swirsky under for free.
Excuse me, sir. Would you like a more buffed ship? Yeah.
This is like Tricked Holland on steroids.
Oh yeah. No, it's highly. Smalland's amazing. I wish I had Smalland on my main account. I really do.
I don't think I can go back to Holland as much now that I have Smalland. It's hard to go back to Holland once you play Smalland because you get so used to having a fuel smoke that it's hard going back to
Yeah,
normal.
you overreach, and all of a sudden you're like, crap.
Yeah, you over in Smalland. I have gotten situations where I've gotten Austin shooting at me. I smoke up engine boost and I survive the Austin because I have a fuel smoke.
Yep.
Like this thing can get a lot of stuff done that EUDDs normally can't get done.
Yep. Exactly. Anything else on the small one before we talk about? I'd say both of us love this ship.
Oh, Somers. There's a reason I have Shimakaze, and this is the reason. This ship is the exact reason.
Now, I'd like to know, where did you put this?
I put Somers in niche. I put it in niche.
Oh, how dare you, good sir!
Look, I
How
love my Somers.
Dare you?
I love my Somers, but man, does this ship like to struggle in games.
Oh my god, I've done 80k games with just the guns alone. Like,
No, the guns are great. The torps are amazing. I see competitive. It's a great place to put it. but man, is it hard to compare it to the other American destroyer, the Gearing. It doesn't fit the same. Now that I play Gearing, it doesn't fit an overall role like the Gearing does.
That is true. I had the Gearing before I had the Somers, and it's just the Somers just felt like I don't know. Like I'm a sucker for zoning torpedoes, so that's just how I play DDs. It's like, hey, sometimes I'm more hope to got a hit because people change their directions
I play Somers.
constantly.
I play Somers the complete opposite. I YOLO in Somers. I'm not sending torps at range, bro. My Somers is a YOLO bolt first. It is a YOLO bolt first. You can
Oh,
almost one tap BBs with torpedo booster. This is not. This is a
that's
YOLO
true.
bolt for me.
That
This
is
is
true.
yo. This is why. That's why I put it in niche because I think the most effective way of playing it is either zoning or YOLOing, and every time you're in between your torpedo, which is very cracked, you have these guns. The problem is they take forever to reload.
I
And the one reason I would put it in competitive is because it has best conceal at tier 10. That's one of the reasons I put it in competitive.
that's
If I had to
yeah.
put it there, it's because of the concealment. It has good
Yeah.
agility, but man, it's hard to compare. If the gearing especially has leg mod, then we're talking about like it's not even comparable to Somers and gearing if the gearing is leg mod because
Man.
it's just no Somers plays the gambit in niche and competitive depending on how you see it compared to
I
gearing.
like I can see niche. I can because of course sometimes the zoning torpedoes don't matter. You know, your guns are reload slow. It doesn't matter about concealment. It's. I just look at it is that you just send so much shit out.
You said so many. I got on games where I've got like nearly 40 torpedoes in a game. It's
Oh
hilarious.
yeah. No, and it's just so easy. Like I know Gearing is the most bland basic DD. I would say the Somers is the most bland basic premium DD. It just
Pretty much. I mean, pretty
they
much.
sit perfectly. And just especially once again, you occasionally can because you have the best conceal. You can YOLO of Venezia. Like I've
I
done it
will say
before.
one
It is
thing.
hilarious.
I will say one thing. If there was ever a reason I would put Somers near anywhere near competitive, like the best reason, Arleigh Burke. Arleigh Burke takes this ship to the next. Arleigh Burke is the Swirsky of Somers. It's the
I
Swirsky of Somers.
thought about that. I so thought about doing a Trick Somers, but
I was
in my
like,
opinion, I
dude,
just put it competitive, and it's
Arleigh
just
Burke, Arleigh Burke is the Swirsky of Somers because now you're talking about a torp reload booster that is coming back consistently, and you get a third one. That's insane. That's literally insane.
I'll agree with you on H. I'll agree with you on H. I'll swap
If
that. I'll swap
if we
that
had
one.
Trick Somers, it would definitely go competitive because Arleigh Burke
Yes.
Somers does not play games. It does not. I don't even have Arleigh Burke. I don't even need to imagine what that thing could do with Arleigh Burke.
See, I didn't see the point. Like, I knew Arleigh Burke helped, but to me, it's like
That torpedo
I look at
booster
my.
skill, that is a crazy skill. That is a
It,
crazy skill for Somers.
it is, but also just the torp. Some games it just doesn't work.
No,
It's just,
that's why I put it in niche
and I just
because
put the guns are just so good though. They're so consistent,
yeah,
and you
they
have
are
what is it,
very
four
good.
smokes, three or
Yeah,
four
three
really
small.
good
Yes,
smokes.
again. Oh, I should have said this earlier. This and Gearing are the only ones that have smoke, so I should have said that
That's
earlier.
what I was wondering. I knew I had a really good smoke. I couldn't remember, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's
Or
just so
you could
much
also
is so
Sims
easy.
also works on
It's so
just it's like the easy it's like easy like gearing, but you don't get like the same ease of use on his torps because they're slow. So like some
yeah.
games you can't hit anything with torps if they have all hydro. So
But then
yeah,
again, also how many turtle strats you can just break up with.
oh, forget turtle strats. I'll be YOLO in the turtle strats.
Uh,
This is my YOLO ship at tier 10.
okay, now let's move on to a ship that I actually abhorrently hate, but I'm going.
Oh come on!
I'm going to lead with this. And I'm going to see if you agree with me.
This is exactly where I put Yueyang. I
Yeah,
didn't want to put it any lower, any better than gearing because it's
yeah,
almost the identical ship as gearing. It's almost an identical ship. It makes some trade offs that are good and bad. Almost the identical ship. It plays almost the same, but not
yeah.
really.
It's just like I know this is a logical fallacy. I know it is, but you never see them. Everyone talks match about them. They do have good gun arts,
Every time you
but
say you
those
don't
deep
see
water
them, I see like
torps.
10 of them in the next couple games.
No, it's self fulfilling prophecies. But
Hmm.
no, it's the Yu Yang. It's just no one goes up them, and then on top of it, it's just you just never like see the true power of it. Where like I will occasionally see Garyans do incredibly well. It's
Oh yeah.
just like they'll do it. But it's just Yu Yang's. I see consistently mediocre players in them. It's just it's hard to rival that idea when you see so much data against it. You know,
And
I see its capabilities though as competitive. It's
I
just
think
so few players.
it's it's back to the Holland idea. It's a mindset in Yueyang because Yueyang is like gearing. In all intents and purposes, it's literally the gearing, but like slightly changed. You get the radar now. You sacrifice better smoke. That is the biggest trade-off you make. You sacrifice your better smoke. Deep waters isn't really an issue as long as you know not to get too close to DDs. Then you could just run.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not a Regolo. But that's a good trade-off for radar if you know what you're doing. The biggest difference with Yueyang, its flood chance is so cracked. It's like 32% with my build. It's like 32%. You play Yueyang like a fire and flood starter, almost like the Halland, except your torps are like buses. That's the way I see Yueyang.
Damage.
Yeah, it's like Yueyang, you can get some serious flood damage done with the because the torps are like buses and they do tons of flood damage and they're fast and they're stealthy. It's just that you don't have the ease of use of gearing because your smokes don't last as long, and you don't have as good of guns as gearing. That's the biggest trade-offs you make.
The thing for me is I always realize, like, whenever I go up against gearing, it's I can just gun them down. It's just they're slow.
Yeah, it's also that's the
Yueyang. Yeah, sorry, Yueyang.
Yeah, Yueyang is slow.
I feel like gearing can hold itself, but that's just because I know. Oh, it's deep waters. I'm in a DD. Let's go on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to be self-aware. You don't want to take those kind of duels against DDs because if you do, that's how you die in Yueyang.
Yeah, I don't know.
Radar is a very strong. I put this out there. Radar is a very strong skill for DDs overall because it is the only other radar DDs has like the EU destroyers, so it does serve a purpose in a competitive situation, or if you're in a game with a lot of destroyers. You may not get much damage, but you can spot for your cruisers.
Yeah.
You can play a support role if you need to in a game. But it's slightly worse than gearing, but I think it's still competitive because it plays so similarly to gearing.
Yeah, if I had to rank regular players, I'd go there.
If it was regular plays, it would be very low because people do not know how to use deep water torch at the time.
No, they don't. Except, yeah, I feel like everyone's learning the Genon pretty well, and I'm just like, so Yueyang era soon?
Although I think Yueyang, people just got discouraged because Yueyang got nerfed twice.
Well, that's because it was as good as the Shenyang, which was nuts, and that thing still is
Hey,
top tier.
look, I'm still a firm believer that Yueyang, OG Yueyang, can compete with leg mod gearing. I'm a firm believer they could have kept OG Yueyang if they had gearing with leg mod still. I would have been fine with that. Yueyang would have been such a great ship. It would have stayed in competitive, but it would have been so much easier to use.
Yeah, I remember that thing coming out. Z42, now that this is out, what is your opinion?
Z42. I unfortunately didn't get it, but I've seen a lot of people play it. I've seen Arsonists play it. It's like barely competitive from what I've seen.
I put it in competitive just because I want it better than the Harugumo. Because it's way more consistent than the Harugumo. It's way more consistent.
Well, it's also the fact that it serves a better purpose than Harugumo. Harugumo is all about that damage. You are there for the damage and the damage only. Z42 is there for the team. Its damage output is not as great because you have Garbage Ken Ichi on paper. Because realistically, 10 guns it's like your Ichi's there for battleships. That's the reason it exists. At long range, it gets battleships.
Or you just get close enough and you torp them and you just hit battlestar and superstructure and you.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, you don't need to even use HE at close range. The AP is there. That is where it's key because you are chunking DDs like no DD can at tier 10.
Oh yeah,
I think it probably has the best alpha of any destroyer tier 10 for guns because that's German AP we're talking about. That's no normal AP there. That ain't no normal AP.
Oh yeah, no, so, I enjoyed the Z42. Is just fantabulous.
It just kind of gets held back by its low HP pool and its lack of speed. That's really compared to Z52. It kind of gets held back like that, but
lack of smoke. Its smoke is there.
Yeah, it's there, but you know.
You get 3 salvos off basically in a smoke. It's not. It's an oh shit button to get yourself into a slightly better position, not a better position.
I think as a DD hunter, it is one of the better ones, and I'm gonna say why it's better than one of the better ones when we get to Z52. It's the Z52 ring is going to confuse you a bit.
Actually, I went controversial with Z52. I went controversial.
Whoa, one of them is good, the other one not so much.
I know, right? On to Z52.
Z52.
I'm gonna go controversial on this one.
I have a feeling I know where it's going, and I think I know where I put mine, and I think I know where the tricked one goes as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Unfortunately, this just gets pushed out. It's straight up. It's a good ship. It's only playable now.
Ooh, see, I didn't do that though. I didn't do that though. I was not gonna do that. I understand why you see this though. I understand.
You have a.
I came back to it a while ago.
Regolo,
Delny. I came back to it a while ago to revisit it just wasn't the same as and enjoyable as it was hunting these Regolo. I put it in niche because it still serves a very good niche. It is one of the easiest DD hunters to get into in the game because realistically, Smoke Hydro, very good
True.
ship. Base
True.
C52 is a very basic destroyer hunter. Not as good as Regolo in the right hands, or I should say Regolo in general, but Z52 base is niche. It serves a good purpose. It does what it needs to do. It's kind of like Harugumo, where in some games are gonna work, but other games are not. Compared to other,
Yeah.
well, at least when compared to like Regolo and stuff.
It's, to me, unfortunately, I think it's the leg mod changes it, and let alone Spay changes it, hinting on the tricked era situation
Yeah,
here.
the trick version is in a league of its own.
Yeah, it's in a league of its own, and that I believe that it gets pulled out of niche into playable because when you are in a mostly battleship game, the Z52 suffers. It has no niche, it has no capability, its torpedoes are mediocre at best, and everything like that. Its guns, yes, it has HE, but it's anemic HE. It's not. It's
Bro,
not
that
HE. It's not
HE is
HE.
there for
It's
fires and
not.
fires only. You can forget the damage on that
And
HE.
yeah, exactly. And that's if you get the fires. And that the AP is nice and it does kill DDs well, but I think if you just look at all the ships above, a base version Z52 just suffers in this entire meta. It does not do well against most of the ships above it.
I can
That's
see that.
my
I don't.
opinion.
I just.
That's
Only reason I don't like putting it in play was I don't like having to compare Z52 to Grozovoi because Z52 is vastly better than a Grozovoi. If you ask me, I don't like that. I do
oh,
not want to disrespect Z52
okay.
putting it.
I'll put
Yeah,
it
I
there.
don't.
I'll put it there. I'll
Yeah,
put it there.
I don't want it near Grozovoi. Grozovoi, I don't want that near Z52. That thing,
So
yeah,
we'll
get
do
down
that.
there. Get down
We'll
there.
do that. We'll do that. That might make you feel better, but at the same time, I know I
Yeah,
don't do
I
that.
still think
But
I still think it's barely niche because it's still such an easy to use DD hunter, realistically speaking.
it,
Like it's easier to get into than Regolo because you have a smoke to sit in that you can't just
yeah,
take with you. And you have a Hydra to spot source with. I still think it's a very basic, you know, it's basically there for beginner DD hunters. If you want to learn DD hunting, go up Z52 line. Once you learn DD hunting, you can expand yourself into Regolo.
I can agree with that. I just don't see it in niche because it is just that bland basic DD hunter. That's all it does right now, and
Yeah.
even then,
Well, at least the base version, not the trick version.
yeah, not the trick. We're not to the trick version yet. Yep.
Yeah.
But it's like the base version. I think it's that niche playable area. It's high playable, but it doesn't deserve anywhere near the Elbing or the Harugumo Somers type of treatment, in my opinion. But I will agree to disagree.
I'm not gonna lie.
Let's talk about the better.
I'm not gonna lie. Before we get to Trick Z52, I prefer and I enjoy DD hunting more in Druid than my Z52 base Z52.
Yeah.
And I love my Druid, so and I love Z52 as well. So that says a lot about what I've seen with base Z52 nowadays.
Yep. But now let's talk the tricked. You put Spay or
Oh,
even I'd say
Z52.
Spay or Legmon on there. Where would
More
you
like
put it?
well, it means we'll put both because let's be honest. If you're gonna max out Z52, you're getting both.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So everybody
um,
says,
where did you put it? Where did you put it? I want to see where you put it first. Competitive? Okay, I put it in competitive as well.
yeah, I think that you get better torps. I think it's you reload faster, right?
Yeah, they go to
faster.
like almost 40 seconds. They go almost 40 seconds.
Yeah, you spit out torpedoes, so now your mediocre torps don't matter because now you're just sending them out.
Well, not only do they reload fast, not only do they reload fast, they're now like the second fastest torps at tier 10 behind the what's it called, Holland and Smalland. So
Yep.
now you have like incredibly fast torps that are hard to dodge on top of being fast reloading.
And
then
you don't really need the Spay. You get APCS
and then Spade
plus,
just takes it to the next level. It just takes the guns to the next level with APCS plus.
and you get better smoke, and you get better maneuverability, and it just
and don't forget Sixth Sense. Don't forget Sixth Sense. You get Sixth Sense too, so now you know who's targeting you.
Yep, that is true. It's just
which is very important for cap control.
Yep, it really is, and that's where it's like when you look at the base Regolo, like I'd say Z52 is better than base Regolo, or the trick Z52.
Well,
versus
it's
Regolo,
better than base Regolo if it's better than base Regolo in certain situations, but base Regolo is so strong on its own that it's kind of hard to compare Z52 at all to base Regolo because that's how cracked Regolo is at DD hunting.
Yeah, it just chunks, and like Z52 is much more of a slow burn. It's a constant. It does hurt.
It's more of a long survival in a cap. When you're playing Z52, you're like a druid. You're sitting in the cap. I'm not leaving this cap until you're leaving the cap. I'm not leaving this cap. So Regolo's more like, I'm gonna get around the cap, I'm gonna harass you so you can get out of the cap. So then I get in the cap. It's a different playstyle with Regolo, with the way DD hunts. But
yeah, but
what would you say,
love...
Sly? Would you say Trick Z52 is better than Z42?
Yes,
Okay.
I would. And the reason is because better torps. Like
That's what I was gonna say as well.
You feel like a better package. Like you feel like you're whole now.
It's like it's like a DD hunting version of a multi-purpose gearing in a sense.
Yeah. You become a very nice light cruiser. That's what I would say.
It's what Grozovoi could have been, but they didn't do it for Grozovoi. It's what Grozovoi could have been, a very multi-purpose gun-focused gearing, but
they didn't.
R.I.P. Grozovoi players. My respects go to you. Keep with the Udaloy.
I enjoy the Grows, but it really has to be played like a light cruiser, and even then, it's a shitty light cruiser.
If I want a light cruiser, I just play Elbing.
That Minnow, or
I can play a lot of other DDs here that are like or Ragnar. Like I can play a lot of other light cruiser-esque destroyers rather than the Grozovoi. That's the thing.
And you have better AA.
Yeah. And look, at least Grozovoi's not OG Khaba bad. We got that going for us. Grozovoi's got that going for it.
That is true. Okay, well, this is it, everyone. We have our meta competitive niche playable and needs fixing. Please let us know in the comment section down below. Do you agree with us? Do you not? How would you position yours? I'll make sure we have the tier maker in the comment section down below or in the description. Description down below. That one. Anything else you want to say, Red?
In general, you will notice something about a lot of these destroyers is that just because they are premium, they are not necessarily high. People always think premium equals pay to win. DDs is not always the case like that. If you look at the meta, over half of the ships in meta are tech tree destroyers. That not a lot of classes can say that half of their meta ships are non-premium. It's for certain tiers, just say. So if you want to grind some of the best destroyers in the game, a lot of them are competitive in meta, and a lot of them are amazing. So only a few tech tree ships are bad, and mostly some of the premiums are niche. So there's not really
only
like
3.
Yeah.
Or there's only 4. I mean, 4 in meta and competitive.
Yeah. Like there's not really like
situation.
Besides like non-tricked Khaba, there isn't really a bad destroyer playing this game at tier 10. Besides maybe like Grozovoi. Like there's not really a bad tier 10 destroyer.
It still hits well, and it still does zoning torps well. It does, especially with the leg mod, and if you can pimp it out just a little bit, it does actually do a pretty good job. I enjoy it, but I can see it needs something. It needs something.
There's like overall, anyone who wants a destroyer that wants to harass people, play Druid. If you want to destroy with AA, any of the EU DD's functions, I don't care which one it is, just play any of them. If you want DD that can set fires, I mean Delny's right there. Or you can just play any HE like Marceau, Kleber, or Ragnar. Just
and if you
a lot of DDs here. Yep. This is probably the most competitive and meta shift you're gonna see for any of the other classes.
Oh yeah.
You will not see this many competitive and meta shifts ever again in any of the other tier makers because DDs are that influential in the game, but not many of them can reach the meta level yet.
No, though I will immediately kind of go is that there's a lot of things that it's just a slight buff and they're meta. Like that's
simple buffs to Grozovoi right there. Simple buffs to Grozovoi right there. Simple buffs to Hayate right there. I mean, Shima if I had a better leg mod right there. I'm telling you, people, please, for the love of God, do not run leg mod Shima. Please do not run leg mod Shima. It is not going to benefit you.
I really enjoyed getting those modules. Okay, can you?
Okay, I enjoy it.
Can you please?
Look, I stripped 2 torp tubes at once with Druid with 1 turret, but look, I don't need to see the pain of my Shimas on my team suffering enough.
That's
also,
true.
Please use your guns. Please use your guns, guys, in your destroyers.
Yes,
I don't care which destroyer you're in.
They do exist.
I don't care if you're a Ragnar trying to not use your guns. Use your guns. Use your guns.
Yeah.
Please.
No.
PSA for all destroyer players.
Yep. No, I think that this is it. DDs are actually really in a good state. They really are, and especially when Khaba is the only premium in the needs fixing.
Again, not a texture destroyer. That's a good thing. We have no texture destroyers in need fixing. So
no, it's I think Grozovoi and actually just I'd say
Grozovoi, Shima, Z52. They could use like a couple of buffs here and there, but maybe not Z52. Z52.
It's not even a firepower buff.
Maybe not Z52 because base Z52 doesn't need anything because the leg mod just takes it to the next level. But Grozovoi, Shima, Hayate can maybe use some soft buffs because it has aged a bit. It's an old premium.
It is old.
Tricked.
Does have cool camo.
That's a good point, actually. Black Lacquer is a good camel, I will admit. It is. Oh, we forgot. Black Shimmer needs extra points. Black Shimmer has the gold camel from the Black Yamato. Automatically should have been niche. No questions asked. And one more thing. Forest Shimmer would have been meta if it was here. I'm going to put that out right now. Would have been meta. If Forest Shimmer was here, it would have been meta. I had to bring that up because it's the DD one. I had to bring Force up at least once. At least once.
Waiting for it. I was waiting for it. I was like, where is it? Where is it coming? It's coming.
You had to wait for it.
Yeah.
I think I'm happy with these rankings. I'm happy with these rankings. Someone's gonna say that Khaba needs to be meta. I don't know what to tell you.
The biggest ones I can immediately see from this is Marceau is definitely going to be right there. Halland is going to be there. Yep. But in competitive, I could see some people kind of.
Someone's gonna argue. What's it called? Someone's gonna argue that base Z52 and Hayate are gonna be a niche. I could see them being a niche. That's where I originally put them, but I could see playable as well.
Yeah,
I still think
playable is not a bad category to be in because sometimes you just don't have there's not really a lot of Regolo players. There's not a lot of daring players.
Well, there's not a lot of good Regolo players. Also, we should have had a tricked Druid with John Jellicoe on it. That is the best commander for Druid players. I need to get John Jellicoe for Druid. That I read right now. If you see me with Druid and I have John Jellicoe, I'm not dying. I'm not dying that game.
And I am going to bring out my Luigi Venezia just to mess with you.
No, you see, you can try, but every time I go back to smoke, I'm gonna heal back all my HP back. It's gonna be a waste of your time. You ain't killing me. If I have John Jellicoe and Jude, I'm not dying. Not anytime soon.
Okay, well, before this gets almost an hour and 10 minutes long, hopefully everyone enjoyed this first tier maker. There is many more coming. RedGamingDino, thank you for joining us today on ranking all the tier 10 DDs.
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to shout out my Forrest Sherman.
Of course he has to. Everyone go over to his channel and give him some love. He's an amazing DD player and makes great meme videos over on that way. We all want to support the community, so make sure to give love to all the other creators in World of Warships Blitz and grow our community together. It's how we all just all live together. Oh man, that's a Warframe reference. Damn it, all live together.
No,
now I gotta do the Warframe reference.
Bloopers.
Nope, leaving it in. Hopefully everyone has a great day. Enjoy. I hope you all have enjoyed the tier maker today and enjoy the future ones. And thank you for all the love and support for making all this happen and the insanity that I will have by the time I get done with all the tier makers. Have a good one. Thank you for anything else, Brad? You want to say? Don't say it.
Buff Khabarovsk win.
Okay, I'm gonna go with that. Okay, buff Khabarovsk. Thank you. Perfect. Peace, everyone. As always, we have to do this the way we do. Oh man, we just started off. Okay, god damn it, begin again. Begin again.
I'll just stay quiet while you do that.
Perfect. Oh man, I'm already slaughtering this already. Hey everyone, Sly47 here. Today I have a red game mode. Damn it.
Oh no, you're so close. So close.
This could be a strong one.
We're gonna need bloopers for every single video.
We are. Okay. Let's do this. Alright, so I have this is actually 5 pages worth of notes here.
Yeah.
I think if Red's doing it anything like all the other people, he's doing it on the god damn, I fucked up there.
bloopers.
Yeah, bloopers. We're gonna see how this goes. Really?
That's why I put Z42. I love Z42 in competitive.
Okay, Z42 in competitive. Someone just subscribed to me.
Oh, amazing.
I didn't know.
Bloopers.
Oh my god damn it, Mel. You man. Ruined the take. God, where were we?
We were getting to Z52.
Yeah, Z50. Yep. All right.